So what if I told you there's an electric dirt bike that's under $1,200 that has 4,500 watts of power and claimed to give you 50 miles per hour top speed? Well, that's exactly what we're going to take a look at. Today we're unboxing and testing the Qronge X1 Spark, and we're going to put it to the test to see if this claims are accurate. So I'm going to jump right into it. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, smash the notification bell. Let's go. Before we jump into a big shout out to Qronge for sponsoring this video. Now, even though this is a sponsored review, all the thoughts and opinions are my own. All right, let's go ahead and get this out of the box. First thing is that this comes in a pretty heavy box, definitely a two-man job. Now the Spark arrives partially assembled, but you can see by the package that this is very well packaged. Yes, there's some damage to the boxes, but that's mostly with the shipping. But as far as just the total setup, I didn't see any damages on the bike itself. Really packaged well. You can see everything is wrapped up with styrofoam. They do have a lot of zip ties in place just to keep parts from rubbing against one another. So first thing out of the box is going to be the front wheel. That's going to be separate insulation, and they did give you a toolkit that you should be able to use to put everything together. As far as the actual assembly, you really can go whichever direction you want. There is no first step, last step, but what I found out is that it doesn't matter if you do the back or the front first, it's not going to mess with what each other's doing. So I started by putting on the rear spring. You can see it is partially disassembled at the bottom, so you need to swing it up and get it in the bracket, tighten that up. Once that's tightened up, your rear is going to be in business and you can go to the front of the bike. On the front of the bike, of course, you have the front wheel to put on. You definitely want to make sure you put that on properly. There's a rotor that you have to slide into the brake, so get that in there. So I was able to put the wheel on, put the fender on as well. These are all Allen bolts. These are all included in the package. On top of that, we do have the headlight, and we also have the LCD screen. That's part of one assembly. And last thing is going to be that front plate. Looks like a windshield. Go ahead and put that on. That should be able to hide the cables really nicely. So first, let's talk about the motor. This is going to come with a 4500 mid-drive motor, which means that this is going to give you instant torque, and this is going to be much better for climbing hills. Just the instant power is going to make a difference. The battery itself is in the middle of the bike. This is not easily removable, so this is pretty much bolted to the bike. You can get it out. As you can see, we do have some bolts right there that you need to remove. One right here, but essentially made to stay in the bike. As far as the charging port, you can see it right here. So the battery is a 67 volt, and the battery does have a main power right here. This has to be pressed before you can actually turn on the bike. So in the front, we do have a nice set of headlights, and let me go ahead and turn these on. But this does have a couple features, and I'll show you what they look like when you turn them on. So turn them on, you can see it does have a white LED. Flip it again, it comes orange. And then you flip it again, you can see it strobes between orange and white. So one switch that does this all is the main control switch. Turn it on, turn it off. It will do a different function every time. I actually like the placement of that light as well. I wanted to give you a good idea of what the lights look like. So let's go ahead and test it out. First, let's go ahead and we'll just turn it on regular. You can see there's a nice bright light in front. So you can definitely see what you're doing. All right, we'll try the other light. So this one's pretty bright. Let's flip it up. There's the orange or the amber. And then flip it again. You can see it doing the strobe thing. So personally, I don't like the strobe. I think it's kind of distracting, but the other ones are fine. The angle is pretty good too, but you always have the freedom to move this up a little bit if you wanted to. So this does have a horn as well, and the reason I'm still in front because when you press the horn, this actually flashes a red LED. So let's check it out. All right, so that's pretty cool. Flashes a red LED. All right, so since we're talking about the lights, this does have a brake light in the rear. All right, so press it, you can see it goes on, and this does have 2 turning signals as well. And this is all controlled by the lever up front. So signal to the left, you can see that's flashing, and signal to the right, that's flashing as well. So let's go ahead and talk about the cockpit a little bit. So, and this does have hydraulic brakes. You can see the reservoir up top, rear brakes on the left, front brakes on the right. And the cool thing about this is that both of them are connected to switch, so you can press any brake and it will go ahead and light up. Now this right here is going to be your headlight, so the ones that I just showed you, flip it on. Below that we have the turning signal, left and right, and then we have the horn button that's lit up in bright orange. We're going to talk about the TFT here in a little bit, but let's swing to the other side. So again, we're going to have the right brakes with the reservoir right here, hydraulic reservoir. We do have the mode button, so this is going to have 3 driving modes. So mode 1, mode 2, mode 3, and we'll get into the different speeds and behaviors of that here in a little bit. Now, as I mentioned, this does come with a key. The key doesn't work if the battery button is not pressed. So I think this is a good 2-way feature. That way, if someone's not familiar with the bike, they can't just come and ride it off. They'll have to have some know-how, so they'll have to press this button on the side to get this going. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the TFT. So let me turn it on, and we'll turn it on just to see the first in the startup behavior. All right. So first thing on the TFT, you are going to see the battery right here. It doesn't give you exact percentage. It does give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different battery levels. That way you'll know where you are, and it tells you that the bike is ready to go. You do have your speedometer in the middle, and once you get going, that will start to move. And this is in miles per hour. I didn't see a way to turn this to kilometers per hour, but we'll test that against the GPS to see if the speed is accurate. Right, you do have a trip right here, and below to the right, you do have the odometer reading right here. For some reason, this is either resetting every time I charge the battery, but I have ridden this before and you can see it's on 0.0, but we'll see how it behaves in a little bit. Now, one thing to note, this does have regenerative braking. So if I start moving forward, you can see that now this is cycling green. And that just means that we're putting some charge back into the battery. So I think that's pretty cool. So as far as the wheel and suspension in the front, you're gonna have 14-inch in the front and 12-inch in the rear. But I've talked to Qronge about just my concerns with me being a little heavier, maybe a little taller than your average rider. They did let me know that they do have a larger model coming out. And this larger model is gonna run a 17-inch front and a 14-inch rear. So can't wait to see when that happens, because hopefully when that new model come out, I can either retrofit larger wheels onto this. I would love to see a larger wheel. Like I said, when I do sit on this bike, I do feel like I'm a little bit too big for it. So we'll see when that comes out. Like I said, love this bike. The only concern is that this is a little bit small for me. It's for a smaller person or maybe a kid or something like that, but I can't wait when that larger model comes out to either get the larger wheel or work out something with Qronge where I can actually take a look at the larger model itself. So I do consider myself a little bit larger. So you can see I'm 6 feet tall. Bike is about a little bit midway in my thighs, so it's a little bit smaller than I would like. You can see I can fully flat foot the bike. When I sit on it, you can see how much the suspension sags. Remember that I did go ahead and I adjusted the suspension to make it a little bit stiffer, because before it was doing a lot. It was going in a lot more, but as for the most part, you can see this is where I'm gonna sit. My leg's gonna be slightly forward. I did also push the handlebar a little bit more forward just to give myself more room, but this is where I'm gonna sit. It's a smaller bike, but that's why I'm pushing towards getting that other model. Actual weight of this, I believe it's 130 pounds, but this is this is pretty heavy. Not a good way to lift it up, but this is a pretty heavy bike, but definitely built solid. So one thing I didn't actually talk about is just the different graphics that's on this bike. I think the orange and black scheme itself looks really good. I think they did a really good job on this. Note that if you purchase this, there is a process where there is some film on every part that has some decals on it, so you'll have to go over that carefully. But once you get that off, you can see I really like what they did with the scheme. The orange on black and white looks really good, especially with the matching wheels. I'm gonna have to get used to it. I ride a motorcycle, so I'm actually already used to it, but let me know what your thoughts is. Do you prefer something like this, or do you prefer a thumb trigger for this type of bike? All right, so one thing I noticed already is that this has instant power, guys, even in mode 1. This thing just wants to get up and go, which is a good thing. So let's go ahead and we're gonna kick it off with mode 1. Let's go. So you can feel when it actually kicks in to say, hey, this is as fast as I'm gonna go. 27 miles per hour on the screen, LCD, 18 miles per hour on the phone itself. Definitely a noticeable difference as far as just what it's reading on the LCD to what it is on the screen. Let's go to mode 2. All right. So mode 2 was showing 51 miles per hour on the LCD, 34 on the screen. So again, that's almost a 20 mile per hour difference, which either way, this thing is fun. But as far as the claimed miles per hour, I don't think we're gonna get to that point. Let's go around, we're gonna try mode 3. Woo! The top speed for the Qronge X1 Spark is 44 miles per hour, which isn't far off of what the claim is, but it's not at that 50 miles per hour. But still, this bike has a lot of torque. It wants to go off the line, instant power. This is still a lot of fun, guys. Definitely more fun than I thought it was gonna be. Let's take this thing off-road and see how it does. This is where the mid-drive motor shines. As I said, the acceleration, the instant torque. This is gonna help you get up those hills, even on steep dirt climbs, grass, whatever the case is. The Spark is gonna pull hard forward without being bogged down, especially when you're in so instant torque, instant delivery. And I wanted to try this on different modes. So I did try it first on mode 1. Mode 1, it went up with no issues. Mode 2, it went up even faster. And mode 3 didn't have any issues. Like I said, this is probably about a 30-degree grade, so this is pretty steep, but it didn't have any problems getting me up that hill. So over to the suspension and ride comfort. So what I did is I knew that I was a little bit on the heavy side, 230. So what I did is on the suspension, I did adjust it, make it a little bit stiffer. So on the spring shock combo in the rear, it does have 2 nuts up top that you can use to compress the spring. This is going to give you a more stiff ride, but also if you're a little bit heavier, it's going to make sure that you don't bottom out. So I went ahead and I adjusted that all the way down, and I think it's more fitting for my size and weight. Depending on your weight, suspension is going to be really good in the rear. Might have to adjust it. In the front is going to work really well. Now, the 150mm front suspension absorbs rocks and ruts really well, guys. Even me riding at full speed through this dirt road, it did really well, really comfortable, and you can see from the side profile, it's actually doing what it's supposed to do. Now, of course, this is going to keep your bike stable, but it's also going to make sure that you're comfortable. As far as the seat comfort, seat's a little bit on the firm side. I can see myself getting padded, but to tell the truth, it was so fun riding this, and I was riding it for over 4 hours making this video, and I didn't feel the need to get up and take a break. So overall, stiffer than usual, but it's still a decent ride. As far as the brake test, this did really well in my opinion. Front brake is going to be on the right, and the rear brake is going to be on the left. Of course, that's not what I'm used to coming from motorcycles, but with the hydraulic brakes, I find that the brakes are locking up less, and it's really giving you a firm, comfortable stop. It doesn't really get sketchy through those high-speed stops. So on this test, I did 2 passes going upwards of 30 miles per hour. First one, I would say, took about 30 feet to stop, and the second one, which I was going a lot faster, took about 50 feet to go from full speed to a complete stop. Again, this was confidence inspiring. I didn't feel like the wheels were going to slip out underneath me, and overall it just feels really good. Both brakes doing what they're supposed to do. As far as the actual range test, This is going to be hard for me to quantify just because there's so many variables in place. It's going to depend on your riding style. It's going to depend on your weight, the type of riding you're doing, mode you're riding in. So this is going to be really unique to that person. I got about 30 miles from full battery to zero battery, and again, this is a mix of me doing some high-speed runs and some average riding. So for me, I got 30 miles, but I can see someone who's lighter than me getting 40-50 miles, or who's heavier than me might get a little bit less, and you should expect a different result based on your unique values. So as far as the size and fit, who is this bike made for? So this is going to fit riders from 4 feet 2 inches all the way to 6 feet, and again, I'm on the larger side. Payloads up to 350 pounds, which I can actually see. Me being 230 and just seeing it, it has no regards to my weight. It still slings me around like I was 150, so I can see this going up to 350 pounds. So this is going to be great for beginners. It's going to be great for teens and adults who want serious power without having a full-size bike. Current sale price is $1149 plus $50 off by using the link in the description. For the performance you get, the value is definitely hard to beat. Again, this is recommended for off-road only, just given the type of machine it is. There is no pedals, so definitely want to consider the way you use this. So final verdict is the Qronge X1 Spark delivers real speed, real torque, real fun without the premium price. So if you want one of the most affordable, fastest dirt bikes that you can buy, this is one that absolutely delivers. Again, I'll leave a link in the description along with a coupon code for an additional $50 off. If you have any questions about this, drop it in the comments. Of course, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, smash the notification bell. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.